Okay.
Tonight's going to be the 4th time since the trade that the Blazers have played the Lakers. Luka has yet to play against the Blazers as a Laker.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
It's crazy. It's a little bit annoying for me because I want to actually get to see him play in person with his team. But now that there's been 4 chances and now he's not going to.
And he played a full game last night, triple-double. He didn't shoot the 3-ball well, but I'm assuming that they're just going to take the long approach and just in back-to-backs or situations where they can get him some rest, they're going to do it.
Especially with LeBron still out. Like they got to be smart. And that's kind of what you're seeing a lot of teams do now. Like, and you're just seeing a lot of injuries already so far in this season. Like I get out, I park at the where I park to go to games, and I look on my phone and I already see 2 new notifications since I left my place that Dylan Harper is out with a calf strain and Brandon Miller is out for a couple weeks, and then I think there was even another one. So it's just a lot of that going on.
Well, I wonder if the Blazers, my biggest concern right now is that they're playing their asses off so hard that there could be attrition that comes with that. Maybe this is an opportunity tonight where you're playing a team that's going to be severely shorthanded, where maybe you can get other guys some time on the floor and provide some rest to some of your key players.
Yeah, so they've been doing, in the injury report leading into these games, they've been listing Shaedon Sharpe as probable with calf soreness.
Yeah.
Which, if he's listed as probable and they're just calling it soreness, that's it's not something that's super, super concerning. But in a game like this where the other team isn't going to have their 3 best guys, I don't know if they're going to rest Shaedon tonight or give him the night off. I don't think it would be a terrible idea to do that. I don't think it would be the worst thing in the world to just give him the night off and try to beat the LeBron, Luka, Austin Reeves-less Lakers without him.
All right, so Blazers-Lakers coming up at 7. Someone asked me this morning, a Blazer fan, who's really impressed you so far this year? And what he was asking was, we know about the big-time players like Denny Avdia, Tamani Kamara. Those guys we expect to perform and play well. Drew Holiday's obviously a terrific pro, but I thought about it, and there's a lot of examples, but the thing that came to mind is I've been thoroughly impressed with the play of Chris Murray off the bench, and he was sensational in the game on Friday. I think 29 minutes, 10.6 boards, 3 steals. He was called out by coach for his effectiveness in that game. So Chris Murray comes to mind, but there's been several. But who's really surprised you with their early season play thus far?
Well, Chris Murray is one. And with him, the questions with him have always been about the shooting. And if the shooting was going to come around, then he's going to be fine because he's good at everything else. And that's still a little bit of an up and down thing, the shooting with him. But he was I think the last game against Denver was maybe the best defensive game of his career, given the stakes with it being a cup game and the opponent that they had. That was a really good game for him. I think Donovan Clingan has had a really nice start to the year. He's just doing what he does. He's protecting the rim. He's anchoring the defense, and I think his hands have gotten a lot better. He's still not a huge scoring threat on offense, but it's not as much of a liability on that end as maybe it was last season. And then it's really unfortunate, and I'm sure we're going to talk about this, but a guy that was really impressing me until we just found out yesterday that he's out indefinitely with a broken foot. But Blake Wesley, I think, has just been so disruptive on the defensive end, and just, while Scoot Henderson has been out, he's been pretty steady at that backup point guard spot. And now, unfortunately, they're not going to have him for a while.
Here's another number. You mentioned Donovan Clingan. I've been thoroughly impressed with him. On the offensive glass, he's pulled down 30 offensive rebounds in just 6 games, which is the second highest total at this point in a season in franchise history. Only Bill Walton in 75-76 pulled down more. That's pretty good. His offensive rebounding, giving them second chance opportunities. But you're right, I've noticed it with the hands too. He's much more sure-handed when he's got the basketball in his hands, and clearly he feels a lot more comfortable shooting the 3 because he's put up some 3-point attempts so far this year. And if he can become a legitimate threat, that's only going to add to his game.
Yeah, I still don't really know what to make of the 3-point thing with Donovan. I'm fine with him shooting those if he's got them open.
Yeah.
I'm still not at the place where I'm saying, they need to make that a part of the game plan and get him those shots. But if he's got it and teams aren't guarding him, he's okay enough at it that I'm not mad at him just taking them. All
right, so 5th metatarsal bone in the foot. That's Blake Wesley's injury. It was broken. He's going to be out indefinitely. I looked up the time frame on that particular injury. It's not a short-term injury. We're looking at 2 to 4 months potentially, which is unfortunate because, I got to be honest with you, Sean. In the preseason, I looked at Blake Wesley and I was like, yeah, whatever. I never thought I'd be saying that, like, the loss of Blake Wesley is kind of tough for this team, but it really is, because once the season began and I saw his value off the bench with his length and his energy defensively, and he can handle the ball a little bit, I was like, that's a productive guy to bring into the rotation off the bench, and it's going to be tough to deal without him with Scoot out. It's brutal.
Well, it's not just how effective he's been as a point guard defender and a perimeter defender. It's him being out in conjunction with all of their other guard depth also being out. Like, they haven't had Scoot yet this year, and they just lost Matisse Thybulle to that thumb injury. So they basically, the two different kind of roles that Blake Wesley played, backup point guard, they basically just don't have one right now. Like, it's Drew, and then I guess you kind of play Denny with the second unit, but, as both Chauncey, back when he was the coach, and Splitter have talked about, it's not the same thing as when you have an actual point guard out there. So that's not a long-term solution. I guess technically, like, they could play Caleb Love there, but he's not really a traditional point guard. Neither is Javonte Cook, their other two-way guy. I almost wonder if you cut one of those guys now and sign a two-way guy who's more of a traditional point guard. I don't know who that would be, but, like, I'm sure there's somebody in the G League that you can get in that spot just to have someone to plug in until Scoot comes back, and then, you lose Thybulle also.
Yeah.
And
how long's Thybulle going to be out?
They said 4 to 6 weeks.
Oh, son of a...
So I guess we find out now how ready Rayan Rupert is to really contribute, because he's played in the last couple of games and he's looked all right, but he hadn't really been able to crack the rotation before that, but I guess he kind of has to now.
Sean in Damascus just reached out and said it would be nice if Rupert could step in and help out, but I don't have much confidence in that. He's not a anyone else on the remix they can bring up. Is there anyone else on the remix that kind of fits that mold?
It's tough to say right now because the remix are like the G League season hasn't even started yet. So I'm going to be honest, I haven't really done like the deep dive into the remix roster situation.
Sean,
yet.
Shame on you. I can't believe that you haven't done a deep dive on the remix.
That's the kind of thing I would have done right now. And then, something happened the second day of the season that kind of threw everything else for a loop. So a lot of the stuff I would have had done by now, I haven't been able to get to.
A lot of fans are already jumping on the Splitter bandwagon and wanting to anoint him as like the coach of the future. I love the job that Splitter has done thus far. I just think that, hey, why don't we give him more than just a few games to kind of settle in and continue to do the work that he's done? I also think that Coach Billups deserves credit, too, because he laid the foundation that we're seeing right now for the defense that's being played. And I credit, Billups for understanding that he needed to have a change in coaching staff, so he brought in, the guys to really get them to the next level. So all I'm saying is that Splitter has done a heck of a job, and I really like the guy. But Coach Billups, laid the foundation, which allowed them to be in the position they're in right now.
If I had to guess, I think Splitter is going to end up with the job permanently. We don't know how long it's going to take for the legal process to sort itself out with Chauncey, so they're not really in any rush to do anything with that as far as like his...
When you say permanently, you're talking about after this year?
Yeah, if I had to guess, I think. I mean, obviously, but the wild card here is I don't know whether the new owner is going to come in at some point, and because whenever the sale officially closes, which is probably going to be February, March, maybe Tom Dundon has his own ideas that are completely separate from anybody in the current organization. I don't know. But
well, that's why I asked the question, because you're dealing with the wild card there. We don't know what the new owner wants. I think Tiago, based on what I've been told, he's got experience.
Yeah.
There are people around the league that think he's going to be a coaching star. He's done a good job so far. We'll see how things continue to play out this season. And the players seem to respect him. So he's got all the makings of what you would need to be a good head coach. I hope that, I would guess, all I want is this. I don't want the owner to come in and just settle on Splitter as the guy. I want him, like any coaching search, I want it to be a vast search. And if you come back, here's why you do that. This is what I've been told, is that if you do a full coaching search and you talk to some of the best candidates available, then you can come back and say Splitter is definitely the guy. I think it lets everyone know, hey, we did a vast search, and after we talk to everyone, we do believe that Splitter's the right guy moving forward. I think it's a good thing.
I think you just kind of see how the rest of the year goes, and I don't think, like, there's been other instances of, a coaching change happening for not the greatest circumstances. You saw this a few years ago in Boston when Ime Udoka had to, be sent away from the team for whatever his, code of conduct situation was.
Yeah.
And they stuck Joe Mazzulla in there, who like nobody had heard of and didn't really have any.
I thought Damon should have gotten the job.
I think a lot of people did at the time, but he, they stuck him in there, and then by the I think at the All-Star break of that year, they officially said. And now that's a little bit of a different thing because Ime Udoka, for whatever the personal scandal, whatever of that was, he wasn't being investigated by the FBI. That was a little bit of a different thing. But I think I'll have to go back and look this up. But I think by the All-Star break of that year, they had officially just said, okay, we've seen enough from this guy that we're going to make him the head coach, and that's worked out pretty well for them.
Yeah, well, that's Brad Stevens. After that whole deal, when he elevated Missoula, I was like, what's going on there? And then after the season, I was like, okay, Stevens knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
and I want Splitter to earn the job. I really do because I like him, and I'm excited to see what he can become. But I like his demeanor and the way he carries himself. And my guess would be that behind closed doors, he probably has no issue getting on the guys too.
Yeah.
But he's not too far removed from the game, like Chauncey, from the standpoint that he knows how players think, he knows what they need. That's not foreign language to him. He gets it, which is cool.
He has a little bit of a different personality than Chauncey does, but they both kind of come at it the same way in terms of they're both former players. They both have won at a high level as players. Splitter wasn't a Finals MVP like Chauncey was, but he was on those Spurs teams that
he knows how to win.
Right, and he's and he's been and he's a Spurs guy. He's comes from that lineage, so he's he commands a certain level of respect from guys, and he's also he won in EuroLeague, and he's won he's been on some good staffs in in Houston under Udoka, and so it's it's a good I think he'll have every opportunity. If this season keeps going the way it's going right now, then I think it's probably a good chance that at the end of the season they do just decide to name Splitter the head coach, and I think nobody would really have an issue with that.
I think that would be great. I'm a big believer in continuity, and if Splitter proves to be the guy, keeping everything the same with the young team would be very wise. Now, Travis Demers, I was talking with him earlier. He made a good point. As the acting head coach, from my understanding and what Travis is telling me, any of his wins go to Chauncey's.
Go on Chauncey's record. Here's what I want to know. If Splitter wins Coach of the Year, does the award technically go to Chauncey?
If he's the acting head coach, can you win the Coach of the Year award as the acting head coach?
Well, I remember the year that the Warriors won 73 games.
Yeah,
and
with Luke Walton starting the year out.
Right, because Steve Kerr had his back surgery, so he had to miss the first half of the season. And Luke Walton started out the season 25-0, or however long the streak was to start the year.
Yeah.
And I think Steve Kerr did end up winning Coach of the Year that year, but it was kind of a thing of who deserves more credit for this, Steve Kerr or Luke Walton? It's in reality, I don't know. That roster was pretty good. Maybe whoever was going to be the coach could have.
Yeah, I guess the way I look at it under those circumstances is I give Chauncey credit for laying the foundation and getting this team in a position where they could be tough defensively, and for having the foresight to realize he needed to up his staff. He brought in Tiago Splitter, but Tiago's the one who's doing work now, right? He's having to adjust to a new role, get used to head coaching again, and he's the one making decisions in games. So I give credit to both sides, but Tiago's doing the work now.
I think it's a huge credit to him. I mean, not just to the guys on the team, but to him that you would think the coach got arrested by the FBI in a gambling indictment. That's going to completely throw off your season, but it really hasn't. It just hasn't. The day after the arrest happened, everybody was kind of still in shock about it, but since then, it literally has not come up once.
No, and that response he got from the team in that win over Golden State here at Moda Center a couple of weeks back, that was exactly what they needed at that time.
Yeah, and then they pretty much they lost that next game to the Clippers, but they were in that game, and it was on the road, and the Clippers are a good enough team that it's okay to losing to the Clippers by 7 points on the road is not
that's understandable. And what I like about the game Friday against Denver is that Denver made a couple of big runs there, but Portland, even when they got down late in the game by 5, they continued to fight and put themselves in a position to win.
Yeah, no, everything they've done this season has been good. Even the 2 games they've lost, they were in and they were against good teams.
Yeah. And now tonight's another test of a different sort where, like we talked about, you got to come out regardless of who's in the Laker jerseys, and respect the opponent and put out the effort that you need to be able to take advantage. These are the opportunities. When you want to win games, like, you got to take advantage of these opportunities at home.
You got to act like the Lakers do have LeBron and Luka and Austin Reeves in the lineup, especially in the Western Conference, like with how good all of these teams are. You got to just stack wins where you can get them and take care of these types of games.
All right, and you're going to be on the upcoming road trip, right?
Not all of it. I'm not going to be in Orlando or Miami, but I'll be in New Orleans, Houston, Dallas.
Well, that's the majority of the games.
Yeah. And then
I like it. You're so technical. Like, well, technically, Chad, I'm not going to be on the entire road trip, but 3 games, though, that's pretty good.
Well, it's good.
Yeah, and I think it's cool to be with the team right now to see how they, every game I watch and see something else, I'm like, oh, that's good. Like you said, it's all good right now. And you're right, it could have gone really bad after the news about Chauncey, but the guys have turned it around.
Yeah, no, it's pretty much not affected them at all on the court, which is pretty incredible to say. But
have you been able to uncover why Jeremy Grant is just balling out of his mind right now?
Probably because the team is actually trying to win and they have a role for him. Like last year, it was this weird thing where like he probably wanted to be traded, they probably wanted to trade him, but like they couldn't because nobody wants that contract. And it's like their priority wasn't winning for the first half of the year; it was developing the young guys. And then when they started winning the second half of the year, it was because of those young guys, and he wasn't really a factor in it. So everybody was just kind of in a weird place with it. And then I think everybody sort of went into this season being like, okay, look, the trade situation is what it is. We can't trade him for anything because his contract is what it is. And he kind of realized, look, do I love that I'm coming off the bench? No. My checks are clearing either way. The best thing I can do is just ball out so that either they have to put me back in the starting lineup or I play well enough to get my trade value up so that I can get to a situation where I can start, like one of those two things. Yeah. And I think, but I also don't know if necessarily Jeremy's, mindset is, I got to play well so I can get traded, because I think now that the team is actually trying to win and they're not just about developing young guys, I think he likes playing on this team.
Yeah, that's great. All right, Sean Highkin, our Trailblazer insider from Rose Garden Report. Read him at rosegardenreport.com. You can also listen to the Trailblazer Insider, which is each and every week here on 620 Rip City Radio. All right, Sean, thanks for being a gamer and battling through your under the weatherness, and enjoy the game tonight. You and I will chat once again on Wednesday before the Thunder and Blazers tip-off here at Moda Center.
Yeah.
All right, we'll keep things rolling. Robb Akey's coming up at 4:20. You got the Rip City Drive with Chad doing on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Dude, I'm so ticked off at ESPN right now. They're trying to extort Google with their SEC rights. And so you've got this feud going on with YouTube TV and ESPN, and so therefore YouTube TV users like myself have no access to any of the Disney channels. It's absolutely brutal. And if I was Google, these big-time companies, these tech companies, we're seeing it with Amazon. Obviously, Netflix has great power. If I was Google, why not just wait until the SEC rights come up and just buy it and pay whatever is necessary, and you can drive more people to your platform? I mean, that's what I would do. But that's exactly what's happening here. ESPN is trying to extort YouTube TV because they have the rights to the SEC. And my guess would be is ESPN's thinking, well, YouTube TV hasn't seen anything until SEC fans go bat bleep crazy and start flooding them with emails and calls and wild complaints. But it totally sucks because I have YouTube TV. I have the NFL Sunday Ticket. I love the platform. It's so usable. Like, I can be here at the game tonight, and normally I would just flip on my YouTube TV on my laptop. I can be watching different games. I can be watching the World Series. I can watch Monday Night Football as I'm continuing to work from my phone or my laptop. I mean, the platform is so smooth, and there's rarely any issues. I've never seen anything better for the Sunday Ticket. It's awesome. So this is a big loss for sports fans, and it absolutely sucks. And it's so difficult now because all we want as fans is to be able to watch games. So this is a big-time pain in the backside for all of us. Brenden, you got some thoughts here? Oh, thanks for chiming in. Appreciate that. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number.
Oh, you got me now. Sorry, I think I had my mic turned. My mic was either turned off or turned down. But
oh my gosh! Wait a second. Are you working with your headphones again? Or you usually, because you usually don't? It drives me crazy.
No,
what's going on there?
No, they're 100% in. I guess maybe the old virtual board. I didn't reset the producer mic from where it maybe was used. But no, just a quick thought.
I should ban you. I should ban you from the show for the rest of the hour and a half because of that mistake right there.
I mean,
that's what I should do.
It would be within your rights, but no. Just real quick. Yeah, I think it's just fascinating to watch this. This back and forth. Who's going to blink first between Google, who we all know is one of the biggest, baddest bullies on the block, and Disney, who is one of the biggest, baddest bullies on the block, and no one loses here but fans, Chad, and that's the disappointing thing because. How many of those fans would be like, okay, I'll pay an extra $10, just put my game on? Not like that's an option, but you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah, no, that's why, this is why people go straight to the illegal stream. They're like double barrel, and they're like, I'm not going to deal with it anymore, and I'll just go to Jetstream TV or I'll get the box or whatever it takes. And therefore, they can pay much less to get every single thing, including pay-per-view, that they could possibly want. But this is what happens. When you start feuding and people get irritated, they're going to do whatever it takes to be able to watch the games they want to watch. Now, I had mentioned that Sean and Sandy reached out to me saying that the full Beaver moon is coming up. I had no idea. I got to be honest with you. I had never heard what a full Beaver moon is, but that's what Sean and Sandy reached out to inform me is that, hey, we got the full Beaver moon coming up. I'm like, wait, what? I had no idea. So anyways, Sean and Sandy informed me about that, and then Tony out in Boring reached out and said that he did a little search, and the only thing that came up was porn. Chad, I Googled full Beaver moon and was directed to Pornhub. Good one, Chad. But I just looked it up right now. According to what I'm reading on Rabbi Google, it says a full Beaver moon is the traditional name for November's full moon, which is named because it occurs during the time of year when beavers were most active building their dams and lodges before winter. This year, November's Beaver Moon is also the largest and brightest full moon of 2025, making it a supermoon because it is both full and at its closest point to Earth in its orbit. So there you go. Thank you, Sean and Sandy. I appreciate that. And Tony, you should know better. Anytime you search full moon and beaver together, you're probably going to get some sites pop up that are not above board. Let's just put it that way. I'm sorry. My fault. My bad. But there you have it. So I'm basically SOL tonight because you got Monday Night Football going on. I've got YouTube TV, and now I'm not going to be able to watch Monday Night Football while I'm working the Blazer game. And I just like to watch all the sports all at the same time. That's all. Like any of you, I want to be able to see it all. Mika chimes in, so annoying to have not been able to watch the ESPN ABC games this weekend. Now, the one thing I do have at home, and I've got it set up in my room, is I've got one of the old school digital antennas because I can access KUNP and watch Blazer programming. But I'm also amazed at how many free channels you get with the digital receiver now. So if I'm at home, I can just pop into my room to watch, different games or whatever that come on. But there you have it. And ESPN's got a little bit of power right now because SEC football is so good. And if you're a big-time college football fan, you can't survive without being able to check out the SEC because of some of the big games that they got. And I'm trying to look and watch all these different games because I want to see and be able to compare the SEC with the Big Ten, the Big 12, and everything else that's going on. And right now, do you Duck fans feel a little bit better about the loss to Indiana? Each passing week, they just continue to steamroll their opponents, and they're a perfect 9-0 and ranked second in both polls. Oregon is sixth in both polls, and the top five remains the same. Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M coming off that big win over LSU on the road, Alabama, and then Georgia, with Oregon sitting there at number 6. And Ole Miss, who I have been impressed with all year, they lost a close one at Georgia, but they bounced back and got the win at Oklahoma. And the Sooners right now, 7-2, coming off their road win at Tennessee. So you've got a number of good teams in there. Texas Tech was impressive with their win over Kansas State this weekend in Manhattan, the Little Apple. And Notre Dame, if they win out, is on course to reach the playoff once again. And how about BYU sitting there at 8-0, ranked 8th in the country with a freshman quarterback? And they're going to be at Texas Tech this weekend. That's a big-time game. All right, we'll keep things rolling. I've got Robb Akey, Oregon State interim head coach, coming up at 4:20. I appreciate your time. We got the tip-off with the Lakers and Trailblazers coming up here from Moda right at 7, and it's going to be here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. And don't forget, each and every Trailblazer game streams live via our free iHeartRadio app. All right, 4 o'clock. The Trailblazers look to make it 4 straight wins. They host the Lakers tonight. The good news, LA is going to be without LeBron, Luka, and Austin Reeves. Portland favored by 8.5. The bad news, Blake Wesley is going to be out indefinitely after breaking the 5th metatarsal bone in his foot in Friday's win over the Nuggets. Monday Night Football tonight, 5:15 on ABC. Arizona's at Dallas. Cowboys favored by 3.5. Bad news for the Chargers. Top tackle Joe Alt will have season-ending surgery. LA now without their top 2 tackles, and Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt for the remainder of the season. Jaden Daniels out indefinitely after dislocating his elbow in last night's loss to the Hawks. X-rays did not show any fractures. Dan Quinn took responsibility, saying the injury's on him 100% because he left Daniels in the game too long. Oregon remains at 6 in both polls. Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, and Bama, followed by Georgia, the top 5. Robb Akey, Oregon State interim coach, coming up at 4:20. All right, Robb Akey's coming up, and will join the show at 4:20. And then Chris Burkhart's going to come by. He'll have Blazer Game Day at 5. I'll have the network pregame show at 6. Tip-off with the Lakers at 7. And the good news is Portland's in a great position to make it 4 straight wins because no Luka, no LeBron, and no Austin Reeves going to be available tonight for the Lakers. And I couldn't care less. The bottom line is every team deals with injuries. Teams are going to rest guys. You just got to go out and take advantage of the opportunities when it presents itself, and you never apologize for a win. At the end of the year, no one's going to look back at the schedule and say, well, that win didn't really count as much as another win because the Lakers didn't have Austin Reeves or Luke out there playing, or LeBron. No one cares. Just go out there and take advantage of the opportunity and get ready for the Thunder, who are going to be in town on Wednesday. I'm just happy with how the team is playing, the execution, the way they fight, and the way they get after it. And I thought the end of that game on Friday night against Denver was pretty awesome.
Jeremy Grant at the line, trying to give the Blazers the lead with 1.4 seconds remaining. Tied at 107. The first free throw is good. Blazers lead. 108-107. Again, the Nuggets cannot advance the ball with a timeout. They are out. Grant will get one more free throw here. Missed it. No, he put it in. He tried to miss it. It hit off the backboard and rattled in with 1.4 to play. Here's the long inbound pass. Jokic has it, turns, puts it up. It bounces up and out. It's a Rip City winner. The Blazers take down the Denver Nuggets 109-107.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. A great comeback at the very end by the Blazers. I have no idea how they did not call a foul on Tamani Kamara when he was behind Jokic. But they didn't, and before you know it, Jeremy Grant's at the foul line winning the game. It was pretty sweet. So I'm excited about the fight, the defense, the way they're gobbling up offensive rebounds, and how they're forcing turnovers. And they're getting many more shot attempts up than their opponents. So I'm excited about where this team is at. The injuries, a concern. We're going to be without Matisse Thybulle for a few weeks, like 4 to 6. That's unfortunate. Critical role player, and now Blake Wesley. So how do you adjust? And, you know, it's going to be very helpful when Scoot does make his return. But that's my concern. They're playing so hard and expending so much injury. I'm just afraid of guys getting hurt again. Every time Denny falls to the floor, which is frequent, I get nervous. Denny, be okay. Be okay, my friend. Be okay. So there you have it. Looking forward to the game tonight. Now, I do want to say, and this is for all Kansas City Chief fans who are out there, you better look out because the Denver Broncos are coming for the division crown right now in the AFC West. And the AFC West has turned out to be one of the more competitive divisions in all of football as we thought. I think it's the best. And right now, the Denver Broncos in full control with a very workable schedule at 7-2. Chargers at 6-3, and the Kansas City Chiefs at 5-4. But here's the beautiful thing for the Broncos at 7-2. They have a short week. They're going to host the Raiders on Thursday night. Chances are they're going to be 8-2 come Thursday evening because, let's be real, the Las Vegas Raiders are garbage. No offense, of course. So the Broncos are about to move to 8-2, which means they will host Kansas City in Denver with a chance to move to 9-2 and give Kansas City their 5th loss of the year, which would put them 3 games ahead in the loss column. I mean, you could bury them in the division race and move to 9-2 in the process. That is a beautiful thing. Now, I've accepted something, and Tony in Portland was all over me because he's like, oh, you were wrong about your Bronco prediction. I thought Houston was going to win. I thought they were the right play. And I'm just thankful that C.J. Stroud got knocked out of the game early or they would have lost. But fortunately for them, Davis Mills comes in. They got to settle for a bunch of field goals. And the Broncos, once again, down 15-7 going into the 4th, are able to battle back and get the win. And Bo Nix, for the most part, was awful. He played a terrible game for 3 quarters. He finished the game 18 of 37 from his passing attempts and completions, but had 2 critical touchdowns to Cortland Sutton and R.J. Harvey, and it was enough to get the win. Had the big scramble run to set up the game-winning field goal. So they did enough. I guess what I've accepted about the Broncos, they're not going to be the team I want them to be offensively, or at least not the team I want them to be consistently on offense. But it doesn't matter because in the NFL, when you got a defense that can rush the passer like they have, and you got lockdown corners where they can play their man defense, they're going to be in every game they play in because their defense is so dominant. And we saw that yesterday. The defense, every time they needed to make a play or a big stop, they did. And the Broncos do a good job against the run. They rush the passer. And when you play defense like that, you're going to be in a position. So if you look at the AFC right now, your 2-loss teams, New England and Buffalo. Patriots 7-2, Bills sitting at 6-2. You've got the Colts at 7-2, coming off a loss to the Steelers. I don't know how that happened. Pittsburgh had 5 turnovers, and they still won the game. And you got the Broncos at 7-2. So 4 teams right now with 2 losses. And then you've got that group sitting there behind them, the Steelers and the Chargers and the Jags with 3 losses. And the Jaguars survived Las Vegas yesterday, win it overtime. Great football game. Geno Smith responded, led his team down the field. They score. And Pete Carroll's like, screw it, we're going to go for 2. And the guy was open. I think it was Lockett back in the end zone open, but the ball gets tipped at the line of scrimmage, game over. So we'll see how things continue to shake out. But Denver, you couldn't ask for a better position. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that they're in a position now where they got 2 games remaining against the Chiefs. They've only got 2 losses. They don't have to win both games now to win the division. Just split with Kansas City, handle the Raiders, which is expected, and win your final home game of the year against the Chargers. You'll finish 4-2 in division, likely win the division. And if they finish with 13 wins, they'll be right there in pursuit and in contention for the number 1 seed. So there you have it. And the offense is not good. And the Broncos have been living dangerously. And their special teams is mostly a disaster. Letting the returns go, had a field goal blocked. It's like, what are you doing? Is Sean Payton, supposed genius, it's like, can you not clean up your special teams, coach? Is that a problem? Can you not commit to the run and find better balance on offense? And why does your superstar quarterback in Bo Nix, which you called him a superstar, why does he look, lifeless for 3 quarters? Now here's Coach Payton after the game.
We did just enough things to come out of here with a win. They're very good on defense. We, despite being -2 in the turnovers, got the W, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, thanks. Really appreciate that. We got any more from Payton?
They're playing for each other. That no one wants to let anyone down. That's a good thing.
Yeah, so they are. They're playing for each other. So we'll see how things shake out. But very impressed with the Broncos. I like where they're at. They need to get better. I guess the good thing is you can win 6 straight games and not even play close to your best ball. And I guess now we know that the offense wasn't fixed after a 4th quarter against the Giants and 4 quarters against Dallas, who sucks on defense. Come on, Peyton. You're the supposed offensive genius. Figure it out. Other things that jumped out at me yesterday, the Bengals and Bears game was insanity. Joe Flacco threw for 470 and 4 touchdowns, and the Bengals still lose the game. And what I like is seeing Caleb Williams making plays late in the game to get his team over the top. The Vikings shocked the Lions. Jared Goff, it's very simple. When he's on his spot, he'll kill you. If you're able to get pressure with him, and the Vikings did, and that Coach Flores defense, they got him off his spot. They're able to find a way to scratch out a win in the Dome. Very surprising. The Packers got shocked by the Panthers, who are now 5-4 at home. And the Packers, one of the better teams in football, but there's just something amiss with that offense right now. The Patriots survived the Falcon game, and Mike Vrabel should be credited for 3 to 4 wins on his own. The guy's a coaching genius. He's doing a heck of a job and getting game-winning plays every single time out with Drake May. And by the way, the Patriots have now won 6 games in a row. Patriots and Broncos, 2 hottest teams in football. 49ers ripped the Giants. Mac Jones continues to ball out of his backside. Here's the bottom line. If you start out with a poor offensive coach as a quarterback like Bill Belichick, or if you get drafted by the Jets or one of those teams, the Browns, you're going to have a rough go. But once you get paired up with a guy that knows what he's doing like Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan, look at what he's able to do. Mac Jones right now playing good football, and Christian McCaffrey, the guy's just a stud. He can catch, he can run, he can do everything. Pass protection, Christian McCaffrey is a complete back. Steelers moved to 5-3. Somehow do it with 5 turnovers. And the Rams look like a legit contender right now. Rip the Saints at home, move to 6-2. They're going to be there in the end. And, the Buffalo Bills, they haven't played their best ball all year, but the Bills team that beat the Chiefs team yesterday, 28-21, that's a team that can win the Super Bowl. And I think for Buffalo right now, as we've talked about all year, the key for them is just getting home field advantage. Get the bye week, get the home field, and you can deal with everyone on your terms in your building. The Chiefs at 5-4 are not dead, but my guess is with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, even if they have to go in as a wild card, less concerning for them as it would be for the Bills or somebody else because of the experience they have and what they have at quarterback in Patrick Mahomes. That's a darn good football team. But the Bills played a great game, and their defensive front, they controlled the line of scrimmage, and they were able to get pressure in situations where they needed it to get Mahomes off his spot, and they get the win. That was an impressive game for Buffalo. And the Seattle Seahawks were awesome last night, dismantling the Commanders. And I looked up, like I'm sure all of you did, and I'm like, wait, Sam Darnold's 13 of 13 with 4 touchdowns? Again, I laugh at anyone suggesting that Geno Smith was a better quarterback, and there were many before the season began than Sam Darnold. And how they couldn't understand why would the Seahawks want to let go of Smith and bring in Darnold? Well, because he's better. And Sam Darnold proving that what we saw last year in Minnesota, not a one-year fluke. I mean, Darnold's been on point. And by the way, Darnold, coming off of bye weeks now, going into that game off a bye, he was putting up an average of about 27.5 points a game. That number is going to go up a little bit. So just remember that in the future, that Sam Darnold off of byes, a very productive quarterback. All right, the Beavers trying to make a winning streak out of it, get the win over the Cougs. We're going to talk with Robb Akey, their interim coach, coming up next. I like Robb Akey. He's coming up next on the Rip City Drive. All right, the Oregon State Beavers are coming off a big win over the Washington State Cougars, and they're now preparing for Sam Houston. Very happy to welcome back to the show Oregon State interim coach Robb Akey. And, Coach, great to talk with you again. Now, I'm good friends with Alex Brink, who's a former Cougar, and I didn't realize until I was talking with him that your paths crossed there in Pullman because you were the defensive coordinator when Alex Brink was the quarterback there. He spoke very highly of you, and he wanted me to make sure I said, what's up to you, Coach?
Well, I appreciate that. It was good to see him on Saturday and send the same back to me for me.
That's pretty awesome. Now, playing Washington State, I understand that it's just a game, but did you have a little more excitement getting a chance to go up to against a school where you have so much history there with the Cougs?
Well, that added some fun to it. I'd be lying if I told you anything different. It was fun. That was a good thing, and my biggest motivation was seeing our guys have success and smile. That was the biggest of all. But it adds a little sweetness to it when you get a chance to go against someplace you've been before. And I got a lot of good friends that are still there, and as we talked about, and so that was pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. It was sure enjoyable to see. We're talking with Robb Akey here on the RipCityDrive. Just an update. Do you have an update on Jabari Johnson?
Yeah, he wasn't able to finish the game, but things presented better yesterday, and he's going to be able to practice tomorrow. So we're going to see how that goes throughout the course of the week. But all goes as it is right now. We should be able to move forward as planned. All should be good. So everybody keep pulling for the best on that.
Can you talk about Anthony Hankerson's big day, over 100 yards, had a score? It must be nice to have a horse like that in the backfield that you can lean on in a game like that was defensive minded.
Well, it was absolutely awesome, and he's I couldn't say enough about Hammering Hank. I mean, he's everything you like in the dude, and he's a great kid, he's a great leader, he's a great captain, he's a hard worker, he's a tough son of a gun, and he's a true Beaver. It's awesome what he does, and then obviously the ability he has to influence the game, and that was one of the things that we did well in the game on Saturday. We ran the ball real well, we took care of the ball well, and it was it was one of those scenarios we got to keep chopping and keep chopping and keep chopping, and the defensive guys did a great job of getting the ball back and getting them the opportunities, and then we put it together and got the damn thing in the end zone, and that ended up making the difference there. But he does a hell of a job of that, and we've got we got some good kids that are doing that stuff, and that's what I thought was really cool about that game. The team took care of the team on Saturday, and that was a great thing. And we'll go back to work on the pieces within it, both in all three phases of the game, to help clean a bunch of that stuff up and make it be better in the next outing. And so obviously there'll be some things I think if we could have finished a few things better in the past game, that would have helped that, and we've got to do a better job there. And I think the way, like I said, the way we ran the ball and made sure we took care of the ball, we didn't have turnovers and that kind of stuff, that was good. And the defense kind of got themselves playing hot, and it was awesome. I mean, you go the first 5 possessions of the second half were all 3 and outs, and then when they got inside the kick line, you get a sack and push them out of it, make them go for it on 4th down and get the stop right there. That was huge. And then Jaheim's interceptions and those all helped build that fire a little bit, like we've talked about before. And I thought that again, just the way the team took care of each other, we made it work, and that was it was awesome. And be able to close it out the way we did, that was great. How do you teach or coach ball security? Well, it's technique, and it's paying attention to it, and it's how you hold the ball and how you take care of it. That's the biggest thing of all, and that's what as a defensive guy, when you're playing people that are loose with the ball, it's out there in the air. You're doing everything you can to get it off of them, and so you got to have the same intensity about taking care of the ball. If you take care of the ball, it takes care of you, and it's the way you grip it, the way you put it away, the way you go get it when it's in the air. And so those are drills that get worked on every day that they're here from the time they get here, I guess would be the best way to put it.
No, that makes sense. When I talked to you last week, Coach, your focus was getting the swag back during the course of that bye week. How about this? 6 sacks, 6 tackles for loss, 2 interceptions. It looked like on defense that swag was there. What did you think about the defensive performance?
I was really happy about that. That's what it's supposed to look like. And I think, you saw guys for example, you talked about the rush right there, and you watch the way guys were rushing. I mean, we sacked him 6 times, but there were multiple other hits and pressures. Pressures that kept balls from being able to complete it, and even on some where the ball might have gotten caught, we were hitting the quarterback, and that has an impact on the quarterback, on the offensive line. That creates discussions, and it creates a lot of things on the other side. So that was awesome. And then the negative yardage plays are so big. Like we talked about, just that one possession. The negative yardage plays that got them behind the kick line, that changes everything there for you. And that's more what, the vision, what you want that defense to look like, being aggressive and hauling tail and getting after it. And now the challenge is, you can, like I tell them all the time, you can do it some of the time, you can do it all the time, and that's got to be our goal, do it more of the time. So that's what we're going to be paying attention to as we get back to work tomorrow.
No, it's great. From my eyes, it looked like guys were thinking less and just flying to the football. What's been the key to getting, the players to play a little more loose out there and just react to what they're seeing?
Well, I think that's, we're saying the same thing when I talk about playing a little more free. I think when we go back to that game 2 games ago, there was the weight of seven times they went out there and it didn't go the way they wanted to, and you need to experience a little success, and they're working to experience some success. And I think as you look at the way that Lafayette game played out, early in the game, at halftime the scoreboard didn't read, the game didn't feel the way we wanted to. It was an uncomfortable situation. But I think when we came out in the second half, you started seeing things start to take place like it was supposed to look like. And, we were finishing drives and scoring. We were going 3 and out on defense, making stops. And I think there's a human nature when things haven't been going your way real well, that, you're out there and you're playing, but you're trying to not make a mistake. And you can't play to not make a mistake. You got to go out and play to make a play. And if you do that, confidence, you trust your eyes, and you just go make things happen, it tends to work better for you. And then therefore in that game, you saw guys start making more plays. I think you started seeing them to be able to play more free, and then that built up. And the defense certainly grew in that fashion on Saturday. It started to work, and I think there's some finish points that happened within a couple drives on our offensive side of the ball that if we finish a couple a little bit better, I think a couple of those drives get extended better, and it'll look more like what we want it to. But I think it's experiencing some of that success and understanding, you go have confidence in. And we're giving you, if we put you out on the field, you've got a license to go play. So don't worry about anything else. We'll take care of the rest. And if you make a mistake, God dog it, if you make it full speed and physical, something good can still come out of it. And that's kind of that make things be a little more better. And I think we're starting to experience, some of that. And we've got to make sure that now we build off of that. And so let's gain some more swagger, and let's go do it that way. Yeah. And let's make more plays and see how many of these can you make in a game and make things happen? Like Shamar, he gets a sack, well, the next play comes back, gets another one. So that's where some confidence can really start to grow. And, Takari was in on both those hits too. So there's some cool things happening that way, and I think that's the way we can help to make it grow. But we've got to go back to, just like we've talked about, we've talked about a bunch. It's got to be now. And so that now is what I can do today. When I'm on the field, it's what I can do on this particular rep. And then obviously in the game, it's the single play that I'm playing is the one that matters. And if we can maintain that focus and do it with a bunch of energy and confidence, then I think more great things can come about for them.
That's great. We're talking with Robb Akey, Oregon State interim coach here on the Rip City Drive. All right, so I'll give you a comparison. Tonight, the Trailblazers, I'm here at Moda Center getting ready for the basketball game. They're going to play the Lakers, who do not have LeBron, Luka Doncic, or Austin Reeves, their top 3 players. And we were wondering about the psychology of making sure you stay mentally prepared for that. So for you and your group, you're taking on a team in Sam Houston that is winless. How do you keep guys who have experienced a little taste of success focused on the task at hand in a situation where it would be easy maybe to overlook the opponent? How do you do that as a coach?
Well, by maintaining the way the focus goes, and that's kind of why, I said what I just said a minute ago, because I think that's what we've got to preach. I think that they have found that by going about things and paying attention to playing one play at a time, and not worrying about anything else that happens with it, just how well I can do on this given play, and then I'm not worrying about the scoreboard. If I do this to the best of my ability. At the end of the night, when we look up at the final scoreboard, it'll read the way that it's supposed to. And so you got to pay attention to how much better can I make myself. I've got to continue to do it because I need to make this be more of a habit. We want to do this more often. The some of the time to all of the time. That only happens if I pay attention to doing it. And so we're just like we in the last 2 ball games have been paying attention to, what are the Beavers doing? What are each of us doing? That's going to be the same approach we have, and attack those guys in that fashion. And we don't have the ability to look crooked at anybody. I mean, those guys haven't won a game. We were in that boat a couple games ago, so that means they're a dangerous animal. They're hungry. They're wanting to try to prove something. And I don't really care about them. I care about us. We need to prove something to ourselves. The guys that are in this locker room on this team, the group of us together, we've got to prove something. And paying attention to that and how well we can do things and how much better can we do things and how much can we put it together in succession and continue to grow. If we focus on that, then we're not worried about anything. And if we do that, then it doesn't matter which team we're playing. We're giving ourselves to play the best of our ability. And it doesn't matter if it's those guys or the Denver Broncos or the Dallas Cowboys or whoever.
All right, that's awesome. Now, Senior Day. I know Senior Day is always special, but does it mean a little bit more this year considering you've got guys who chose to stick it out and see this process through?
It most definitely does. I mean, for those guys, there's a bunch of them, and that's always it's an emotional day for those guys, and it is for their younger teammates too, because they're not gonna. This is the last show they're gonna put on here in Reeser, and so there's a lot that's gonna go into it. Their families, their pride in being here and everything that they've had the opportunity to represent. It's a big deal. And I know that there's a bunch of them that have been here for a long period of time. And so I'm looking forward to the Beaver Nation coming out here, their last chance to see some of these guys be able to do it here at home. And that means a lot to those guys too, when they see that all up in the stands. And I hope I like to think that they've hopefully got some folks excited again about the way the last couple of weeks have gone. They'd like to come out here and say, hey, we got one more chance to see some of these guys play. Let's go see them and do it in force and let these guys know how much they mean to them, because I promise you it means the Beaver Nation means the world to each of these guys and to each of us. It matters a lot, and it does have a great impact on the game. I thought, the crowd we had on Saturday, they were excited, and that was awesome, and they got into it. The students are getting into it. That was cool. And if, so I think you put all that together and we see how much fun we can all have together, that's a hell of a damn deal for all the Beavs, don't you think?
I do. Hey, this might be a good omen, but it was brought to my attention that the full Beaver moon is coming up on November 5th, and it's apparently the largest and brightest of the year, and it's named after beavers because it marks the time of the year when beavers are busy building their lodges and their dams. So I think that's pretty cool. That could be a good omen for your team, Coach.
I like the way you're thinking, man, and it's a great thing. Let's take advantage of that. Let's go.
Yeah, hey, one other thing, just so you know, in your trip coming up in a couple of weeks, I was born in Tulsa. That's where my family is from. So if Coach Akey needs a good home-cooked meal, I've got plenty of family that will take care of you. You just let me know.
Well, I appreciate that. That's awesome. And you tell them we love to have them all at the game. Get down there and cheer us on.
All right, you got it, Coach. Thank you. We'll catch up soon. I appreciate you.
Hey, you got it, Bubba. Have an awesome rest of your day. Go Beavs.
You got it. There you go. Coach Akey, big thanks to Brenden Slaughter for assisting me with that interview. I appreciate it. But Coach Akey, what a likable guy he is. He's got the big, gravelly voice filled with energy. You got to love that. All right, you can reach out to me. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. We got the tip-off with the Lakers and Blazers coming up at 7. Again, no Luka, LeBron, or Austin Reeves. And Chris Burkhart's going to join me coming up here in a few minutes. We'll get a preview of Blazers game day, and we'll discuss some of the details on tonight's game. A full Beaver moon. I had no idea. Sean and Sandy informed me and let me know what's going on. Tony in Portland is very happy with the way the Bears game played out this weekend. I'm sure you are, man. It was unbelievable. Also, Scotty Bethune, my boy, has just reached out. I hate sports why am I listening to sports talk radio? This is like a bad relationship. He's mad right now because he's a Giants fan, really angry the Dodgers won the World Series. He's also a Miami Hurricane fan, and he just experienced the full Mario Cristobal effect. You know, when they started out red hot, got wins over Notre Dame, we knew that this was coming. Everyone knew this was coming. When is Mario Cristobal going to happen? And it happened. With now losses to, who is it, SMU and Louisville? Not good. He's also a Raven fan, and their team's been decimated by injuries this year. So, yeah, Scotty's in a bad mood. I love sports today, but that could change in a few hours if the Blazers blow this home game to the Lakers without Luka and LeBron and Austin Reeves. And my Broncos are 7-2, but if they blow this game at Thursday night at home against the Raiders, I would hate sports too. It's a violent relationship. I've asked the question, why do we do it? We invest more time and so much money into something that we care more about than a lot of times the players do. And when things don't go our way, we can't control the product on the floor. We just have to sit there in agony and watch our teams flail around. And then the problem is with every season, only one team finishes on top. And that means it's usually not your team or my team. Yeah, being a sports fan is psychotic. It's like some type of crazy relationship or something. You ever had a relationship where you have like someone that might be a little bit crazy? You ever dated a crazy or been married to a crazy? Raise your hand if you have ever dated or been around a crazy person. And maybe that just happens to people in other states. I don't know. But that's what being a sports fan is like. It's like, why am I doing this? But then what happens is like sometimes it gets really freaky good, and you're like, I need this. And then when it gets really bad, you're like, I don't need this. But yet we're going to continue. It's like the pursuit of love. No matter how many times you get your heart ripped out of you, you're going to continue to pursue it because you want it. You desire it. And frankly, it's sports is nice right now because it's one of the few things we can get all geeked up on. And it kind of is a nice little escape from reality. Beats watching the news right now. Government shutdown and this and that. People are bad. Democrats bad. Republicans bad, or vice versa, or whatever. I just give me a little bit of sports. I'm happy right now. My Broncos are 7-2. They probably shouldn't be, but they've won 6 straight. But I do like Robb Akey, man, to step into that job. Remember, it goes back to what Alex Brink told us last week. They couldn't have fallen into a better coach to take over with the situation being what it is and getting the team to respond the way he has. It's pretty impressive.
Gotta love that energy, too, Chad. He just coming in fired up.
He is pumped. He's like, let's go, let's go. I was looking for the dump button because I thought Coach Akey was going to get a little bit loose with the lips there, but he stayed strong. He stayed real strong. That's a good dude right there. And frankly, if Alex Brink speaks highly of him, then that's good enough for me. And Alex Brink, by the way, will join the program tomorrow. Also, the Dean of Portland Sports, his new book is out. Kerry Yeager is going to join me in studio tomorrow. So we're all set. All right, 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. Dallas and Arizona coming up here in about 30 minutes, Monday Night Football. Blazers-Lakers going to tip off at 7. Chris Burkhardt will join me next, and we'll get his thoughts. And I appreciate your time. You're listening to your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. All right, going back to my conversation with Oregon State interim head coach Robb Akey. This came in from the 503. Nice interview with Fred Sanford. Thought that guy died a long time ago. That's an incredible reference.
And I want to ask this officer a question.
Very well. Proceed.
Now, here's the question. What have you got against black drivers?
The voice is very reminiscent. That's pretty awesome. But big fan of Robb Akey. He is one of a kind. Chris Burkhardt is with me. Let's go out to the phones. Tony in Vancouver's out there. Tony, appreciate the call. What's on your mind, boss?
Hey, me and you are not unhappy sports fans. The Broncos look real good, and I'm going to be honest with you, the Seahawks look pretty much indestructible right now. I would love to see the Broncos and the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. And if it turns out like the last one, I'm going to be a real happy guy. What do you think, Chad?
I appreciate it, boss. You're right, man. I looked up last night at the TV, Burkhardt, and 13 of 13 for 4 touchdowns for Sam Darnold, off to a great start.
Yeah, he's been phenomenal, and he was great when he filled in for Brock Purdy in San Francisco. Goes to Minnesota, does it, and yeah, I'm glad that he rebounded after some bad years. Like you said, sometimes you get put in bad organizations, bad coaching, and it ain't your fault.
Unbelievable. Well, Blazers tonight. No Luka, LeBron, no Austin Reeves. What'd you call it, the South Bay Lakers tonight?
Yeah, it's the South Bay Lakers. You can see them go play the Rip City Remix occasionally up at Child Center. That's who's playing tonight. I mean, I saw like the NBA had one of their accounts tweet out something that was like, "What LaRiviere and the Lakers take on Holiday and the Blazers." That's how you know they're down bad. But also, Luka is definitely ducking this Blazers team. 4 games that they've played since he's been traded to LA, and he hasn't played the Blazers once.
I think this is the biggest problem facing the NBA with the load management and the star players not playing. It just sucks. It's not the same game. Like the Blazers, I'm happy because I want them to get as many wins as possible, but that's not the same team they're going to see tonight without those guys on the floor.
I think it's frustrating for multiple reasons. I think it's frustrating just because you, as a fan, you pay good money. Like we've seen this. This place fills up with Laker fans. A lot of people in this town, California transplants, and if you're a Blazer fan, you want to see the best players on the court too.
Yeah.
You never know. This might be the last time you get a chance to see LeBron, and he's not going to play. That's devastating. You want to see the best players on the floor every single night, and the NBA needs to – if they're so worried about players playing on second nights of back-to-backs, well, then the NBA just needs to get rid of back-to-backs. So I think this is a joke.
What do you think about this injury to Blake Wesley? Like, without Scoot, like, how do you fill that gap? Because they don't have Matisse Thybulle for 4 to 6 weeks. Now Blake Wesley's going to be out for an extended period of time, so you've got to bridge this gap between now and when Scoot comes back. That's not easy.
Yeah, I think the impact will be felt more on the defensive end than the offensive end. He hasn't been great when it comes to running the offense. He is a little bit of like that shooting guard stuck in a point guard's body at times. But he's good. It just is just unfortunate. I still think you end up getting the ball in Denny Avdia's hands. Maybe get Tumani Kamara to run a little bit of that point forward position. I think you're going to miss Blake far more on the defensive side because when you go from Holiday to him, you don't give up. I mean, you give up something because obviously Holiday's so good, but he's been so tenacious on that end. It's been impressive.
Yeah, no question about it. A couple of numbers here. It's pretty amazing, but the Trailblazers, what they've been able to do with their defense. Oh, first off, Donovan Clingan's pulled down 30 offensive rebounds.
Is that good at this point?
Gosh.
Through 6 games?
But it's absolutely ridiculous, and the Blazers right now are forcing turnovers at an alarming rate. And let's see here. What is that number I'm looking at? I want to make sure I give you the exact number. Yeah, of course. I can't find it. Here it is. Is this right? Oh, the Blazers have taken 70 more shots than their opponents this season. So what they're doing is they're forcing a grip of turnovers, and they're getting a lot of second chance opportunities with their offensive rebounds. I think they pulled down a total of like 84 offensive rebounds in the 6 games they played.
Which when we were at Media Day and Coach Billups was talking about what the identity of the team was, there was obvious that the emphasis was being put on rebounding and getting out in space, and Tiago's done a good job of making sure that continues. And like you look at Denny Avdia, right? And he gets a lot of turnovers every night, and I would like the turnovers to come down. But watch the kind of turnovers he's getting. He's getting them because he's running right at the rim and going for a shot and then turns it over. It's not like a lazy pass type turnover. They're trying to make sure that tempo is one speed and fast.
So they have forced 134 turnovers and pulled down 84 offensive rebounds. That's crazy.
That's incredible.
I mean, when you get those type of when you put up that many more shots than your opponent, it allows you to win on nights when you're not shooting your best percentage. Like, they didn't shoot the 3-ball well against Denver on Friday, but they kept that pressure up and ended up in a position to win the game. I'm still surprised that the NBA didn't call a foul on Kamara, but I'm sure happy they didn't.
Yeah, I'm sure happy they didn't. And then they doubled down, said it was the right call. Denver media has been losing it for like the last 48 hours. And I'm just sitting here going, you know what? If that's what Game 6 does, that's why this game is awesome, because, you got 76 more of them. But, yeah, they do that. And the good part about that game against Denver, Chad, is Denver came in, number 1 scoring offense in the league, number 1 field goal percentage in the league, number 1 in free throws. The team is phenomenal, and for the Blazers to stick with them and get that win, it shows a lot of the character that they're working with.
All right, I want to talk to you about this because it was one of the most phenomenal things I've seen, but this is crazy.
Full count, Hoffman delivers. Rojas hits it in the air, left field. This ball's got some carry. It is gone! It's gone! And Game 7 is tied! Bases loaded, 2 outs. The pitch. Clement lifts it in the air, left field. Kike Hernandez running back. It's in the gap. It is on the track. They converge. Pages reaches up and makes the catch as he crashes into Kike. Oh my gosh! We're going to extra innings. A Yamamoto miracle in the 9th.
How crazy was that Game 7, dog?
It was great. And can we stop the narrative that the Dodgers are bad for baseball? Oh, they have the biggest payroll, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so they're the first team to win back-to-back World Series since the Yankees forever ago. And they just went to Game 7 with the Toronto Blue Jays, and they really, in all actuality, played about 8.5 games when you factor in all the extra innings. Like, they're not bad for baseball. It's the same argument like the dynasty of the Warriors here. If you put together a dynasty, which is hard to do, sports need a villain, and sometimes it's nice to have that villain. Now everyone wants the Dodgers to lose. You know how many casual fans were tuned into Game 7 to watch that? It's good for baseball. I will argue that one.
And we all know that the teams whining and complaining about, the Dodgers or the Yankees or the big spenders, these clubs have money. They choose not to spend because they're trying to line their fat-ass pockets with cash. These owners can suck it, man.
Well, how about the other big spenders like the Mets who fizzled out, the Yankees who fizzled out? Like, it just happens. But that series, though, and that game in general, first off, going 3 straight solo home runs. But then the Blue Jays, I don't think I've seen a team with more warning track power in my life.
That's amazing. All right, game day's coming up. What you got?
Oh, we're going to break down that game against Denver, man, because I thought it told a lot about this team, and then look forward to what they get to do tonight against the South Bay Lakers.
All right, big thanks to Sean Highkin, to Oregon State coach Robb Akey, and to Brenden Slaughter. Chris Burkhart's got game day. Tip-off tonight at 7 with the Lakers. You guys enjoy the game, and I'll talk to you tomorrow, Rip City Drive at 3 o'clock.